National Working Committee, the caretaker working committee of the People's Democratic Party, has received with profound satisfaction the judgment delivered today by the Federal High Court Oyo Division, which restrained the Taminu Turaki and others from parading themselves as National Working Committee of the party. The court also recognized Abdulrahman Mohammed-led caretaker committee as the legitimate leadership of the party. The judgment, which further nullified the conduct, outcome, and entire proceedings of the purported convention held in Ibadan, represents a decisive victory to the rule of law, constitutionalism, and internal party democracy, according to the group. The National Caretaker Working Committee therefore congratulates all its members and supporters for their patience, resilience, and unwavering faith in due process throughout this period, and further called on all members to remain calm, law-abiding, and united as they moved forward in the spirit of reconciliation, progress, and renewed commitment to the ideals of the great party. For more on this development, I'm joined by National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ini Ememobong. Mr. Ememobong, thank you for joining us on the news this hour. I don't know if I'm in contempt of court by calling you National Publicity Secretary based on the recent judgment. But you know, the Federal High Court in Ibadan has nullified that November 15 PDP convention last year, which was, I believe, convened under Governor Makide's watch. The ruling is that it violated subsisting court orders. What is your clear response to that court finding?
Yeah, glad to be here and good evening. Meanwhile, I like your jacket a lot, and don't be afraid you're not in contempt of court. The ruling by my lord today, I mean, I'm a lawyer, so we have tremendous respect for the court, but that doesn't stop us from having some objections and comments on it. So in the wisdom of that court, the court has said that sitting on giving what the reliefs that we sought would amount to sitting on appeal. So I'm wondering, if you dismiss the suit in its entirety, on what basis did the court now have the capacity to give reliefs that were not sought? It is clear that the court is not a Father Christmas and cannot give reliefs that parties haven't sought. But I mean, it's the sad things that we see today. But clearly, it's a technical and academic judgment that confers technical victory without its movement, without motion. You know, so I'm glad to see that the former secretary is excited about it. I mean, so the cases in the Court of Appeal, the Federal High Court in Ibadan cannot sit on appeal, like my lord said, clearly over the judgments of courts of coordinate jurisdiction. So what we are saying is that my lord knows, and all of us who are in the matter know, that we're waiting for the Court of Appeal and, I mean, the Supreme Court in this matter. It's the judgment of the appellate courts and the apex courts that would be the final on this. Clearly, the issues that were there was to compel INEC to recognize the existence of a fact that had happened. You know, there are two issues in law, which is facts and law. And so we're asking the court to grant recognition to a fact that had happened. And in the wisdom of my lord, having said she couldn't grant the reliefs, then what was the prayers, canvas that led to the judgment? But again, it is not the duty of us here to. That's the duty of the court, and we filed a motion to appeal the judgment, and we also filed a motion for the stay of execution. There is absolutely no grounds for everyone to be afraid or anyone to be afraid. We know what the processes of court are, and we're going to walk through all of it. It's just a bend in the judicial journey, and we're sure we'll get to the end.
I like your optimism. When you say former secretary, I believe you're referring to the national acting secretary. It's a little bit confusing because it depends on who you're talking to and the interpretation of the court.
Even in a matter he went to court, he has that judgment.
All right.
Even in another matter where we are before Justice Abdul Malik, where the court had said that no action should be taken by any other party beyond that. They now went. So that court in Ibadan cannot be recognizing the act that is the contempt of another court. I mean, so these are conflicting judgments, but the lived reality of Nigerians that our judiciary is now fighting amongst themselves. We no longer can have the predictability that was one of the characteristics of law.
I hear you clearly. For a minute, let us stick with what we heard from Ibadan today. This particular court ruling is suggesting that the convention proceeded or rather proceeded despite unresolved legal matters. And what critics, especially those on the other divide, are saying is that regardless of the political urgency, defying court processes undermines internal democracy and weakens the party's moral authority. In hindsight, given what the High Court in Ibadan has said now, do you think that perhaps the convention should have been postponed until all of these legal hurdles have been cleared?
No, you see, the Supreme Court has been clear without any equivocation or any mistake that courts are barred from political matters. I mean, and we can't continue like this to pretend that we do not know what it is. And I mean, you cannot place an illegality on illegality. And that is why we're in the Supreme Court. We are complaining of issues of fair hearing. We're complaining of issues of constitutionality in the matter that we have on appeal. And so when you look at it, the convention held in compliance to a court judgment, a court ruling. And so all of this will be tested at the appellate courts. And the beautiful part about appellate system is that it's not one person's decision. It's a considered decision. And you know that two good heads are better than one. So we thank my lords for the judgment, but unfortunately we have to go upstairs, which they know, and that is why our jurisprudence is in that order. And the higher you go, the more people listen to it so that they can make sense of the arguments that are there. I mean, so we do not begrudge anybody. We have tremendous respect for the judicial system, but we are appealing most of these judgments. And we do know that despite the judgments in the court in Ibadan, that the final authority would be the appellate courts, starting from the Court of Appeal then to the Supreme Court on this matter. I mean, it may just take time, but we do know that the Court of Appeal is taking a very novel and strong means of trying to clear appeals that are ripe for hearing. And we hope that soon as that the Court of Appeal also conscious that this affects the generality of democracy, not just about our party, because these are sui generis issues that are setting and shaping our legal jurisprudence, especially as it has to do with election matters. And so I'm sure that they would take speed. Yeah.
You know, I've spoken to the National Deputy Secretary on the other side of the divide earlier, and he mentioned to me that many politicians on your own side have started reaching out following this court judgment, and that's an interesting perspective to things. But given what has happened with the huge number of PDP governors who have now left for the APC, what does this mean for party unity going forward? Is that something the Makinde-led faction is still interested in?
I don't know why Makinde is singled out for.
He's the only PDP governor in the South. Is prominent for that, isn't he?
No. We have four governors with us who are solidly behind us, and therefore Makinde should not be singled out for trouble or for mention. And to make it, Makinde is not even the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum. Bala Mohammed is, and therefore we must put things in their perspective. So if people have issues with Makinde because he's a fine gentleman and they're afraid that he may nurse ambitions that they don't want, that's their business. But Makinde has absolutely nothing to do. The choice of Ibadan was made at the NEC meeting where everyone, including Anyanwu, agreed. So why is Makinde, for hosting a convention for the party, that is why he's being singled out for punishment? No. Now, when people are talking about people reaching out to them, there are people who live in fool's paradise and who live in wishful thinking, and we can allow them live in that. But I can assure you that the attempt to derail democracy by fighting oppositions, which we have been talking about, is clearly sponsored. I mean, so the issue that you would have is to just throw a little challenge to them to say, oh, if you are an opposition party, please just show us one criticism of the federal government that you have made. It's that simple. I mean, so there are people who have made the PDP an extension of the APC, and we don't begrudge them. But the real PDP with the people, it's a game of numbers, and we are clearly outnumbering them every day. So don't be deceived by people saying people are reaching out to them. You know, they may make phone calls amongst themselves.
We have completely run out of time now. I just needed you to answer that question. Are you saying that unity is out of the table, you know, with this other group? Unity is for a purpose. You can't be unifying with someone who doesn't want TVC to run, except you yourself don't want TVC to run. We'll unify along the lines of principles that PDP will field candidates in all offices, including the president. All right. And whoever doesn't like that then should know that there's no unity. But if it is because the PDP was established to run for political offices and to win,
we will be unified with all right-minded people who have not sold themselves to the government.
Good place to leave it. It's what I will leave TVC out of this PDP conversation anyway. National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, in Memorable. Thank you for talking to us.
I'll come for your jacket if you don't mind.
Well, I'll think about it.